We are live here chatting with our managing partner again, Mr. Olushola Jegede. So on today's episode, we'll be talking about company formation in Nigeria. So please, sir, what type of company can be formed in Nigeria?
Thank you. There are different types of companies that can be registered under Nigeria law. Or let me say there are different types of entities that can be registered. And that include business name, company limited by shares, private company limited by shares, and public company limited by shares. Then there are other entities that can be formed for the non-profit organizations like incorporated trustees and company limited by guarantee. However, for a company that want to start a business, a new startup, the most suitable and the most recommended form of starting a business is by company limited by shares, private company limited by shares. That's the most suitable vehicle to start a business venture in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir, for that. So, what are the key requirements needed for company registration in Nigeria?
Okay, to register a company in Nigeria, which is a company limited by shares, private companies, the company is expected to have a directors, shareholders. The secretary is not that important if the company is locally owned. If the company is locally owned, the secretary is not important. So when you now ask what are the key requirements? The key requirements involve the details of the directors and the shareholders. Of course, most times, usually, the directors are always the shareholders. But at times, the shareholders can be different from directors. The shareholders, they are the legal owners of the company, while the directors, they are the ones that control the company, that control the day-to-day business activities of the company. So when you want to incorporate the company, you're expected to have your directors and shareholders and the address of the companies that you want to register. By law, all companies to be registered in Nigeria must have an address in Nigeria. But they must have an incorporated, such company must have a registered address in Nigeria. So the requirement basically will be personal contact details of the directors, such as the identification card, name, address, email, phone number of both directors and the shareholders. Also the details, the address of the company. Since the company is mandated by law to have address in Nigeria. But for a company that wants to have secretary, the company they must also furnish the personal contact details of their own secretary as well. But assuming the company wants to be formed by another company, let's say it's going to be like a subsidiary of a foreign company, the certificate of the foreign company or of the shareholder, a company shareholder must also be presented. Those are just key requirements to set up a company in
Nigeria. I would like to know one thing, sir. Are foreigners, like, how can foreigners set up a company in Nigeria legally?
Well, foreigners, they can also as well register a company in Nigeria. For foreigners to register a company here, they must also, one of the key requirements as mandated from the Federal Ministry of Interiors, which is the government agency that permits foreigners to work in Nigeria, is that such company must have a minimum of 100 million naira share capital. And the Corporate Affairs Commission, which is the government agency in charge of incorporation in Nigeria, they follow to the task and ensure that such company has a minimum of 100 million naira authorized share capital at the point of registration. So for a foreigner that wants to register a company in Nigeria, they must have a minimum of 100 million naira authorized share capital. They are allowed to also present their directors and shareholder. However, unlike company to be formed by a Nigerian citizen, if it's a foreigner, they must have a secretary. That's mandatory. So they must present a secretary for the company. Also, a foreigner must have a minimum of 2 directors. Earlier, you asked about what are the requirements. I said the company must have directors and shareholders. For a local person, it's a minimum of 1 director and minimum of 1 shareholder. But when you now come to a foreign company, because foreign company is not considered as a small company. So a smaller company allowed to have just 1 shareholder, 1 director. But a standard company, let me say a big company, like a foreign company must have a minimum of 2 directors, but they can have a single shareholder. So a foreigner must present at least 2 directors. They must present the secretary for the company. The secretary must be a local person. It must be a Nigerian citizen. Okay? So, and if the foreigner want to open the Nigeria entity, they want it to be a subsidiary to their foreign company, they must also present the certificate of incorporation of their foreign company, which is part of the requirement, and that foreign company must sign a company resolution authorizing the opening of a Nigeria subsidiary and mention the names of the people who are to be the directors of the company. So basically, they have to present the similar details for the director and shareholders, just that the local person will present like a name, an address, and everything, except the fact that a company that is owned by foreigner in Nigeria must have at least 2 directors. They must have a company secretary as well.
Moving on to the next question. What is the procedure for registering a company in Nigeria?
So registration of a company in Nigeria is done through a sole government agency in Nigeria known as Corporate Affairs Commission, and it can be done through the portal of this commission. The portal is actually open for the public, which means any member of the public can attempt to register the company themselves, but we always advise that this is done through an accredited agent such as law firm, like Resolution Law Firm. We are one of the accredited agents that incorporate companies in Nigeria. So the first thing to do is to make a company reservation of the name. You want to reserve the name to check whether the name is available. It's called availability check. So when you check that, if the name is available within 1 day or 2 days, the Corporate Affairs Commission will respond that this name is available. When it's available, they can be reserved. From there, you can proceed to the registration. Registration is also done at the portal of the CAC, online portal of the CAC, after the name has been reserved, by submitting all the requirements we have mentioned earlier and making the payment, official fees. There are 2 types of payments applicable to company registration in Nigeria. Number 1, CAC filing fees. Number 2, stamp duty. Stamp duty, which all these fees they are based on the number of shares of the company. Usually, a company can do as low as 100,000 authorized share capital, but it's advisable to always start to do like a 1 million authorized share capital. That's most common that most people start for local people, for Nigeria citizens, really. But for foreigners, it must be up to 100 million naira authorized share capital. So there are forms to be filled, which include the application status form, which will show the name of the director shareholders. It's going to include the statement of share capital, memorandum and articles of associations. All those forms, they are electronic form that can be accessed from CAC portal and be completed. And when this form has been duly filled, it can be submitted on the CAC portal, hoping that within 2-3 days, the company can be registered. And when the company is registered, the incorporated certificate and other incorporation documents, such as MEMAs, application status that they are available to download online. Since 2021, company certificate and company document in Nigeria are in electronic format. So once the company has been registered, then they can be downloaded and be sent to the around or to the any person that require such document. And when the company is registered, it comes with the RC number, registration number. That's basically how a company is registered in Nigeria.
Thank you very much, sir. Lastly, what are the compliance requirements for a registered company?
Yeah, when the company is registered, it does not end there. In Nigeria, company, unlike other licenses, maybe you want to talk about business licenses that are renewed annually. Company in Nigeria doesn't expire. You don't need to renew a registered company annually. Rather, what you do is that you file what's called annual returns, which must be filed with the Corporate Affairs Commission. What are the requirements for filing this annual return? There's just one key requirement: is your financial statement of that company, which is an audited account for a company that has not started a business yet. After 18 months of incorporation, they will prepare what we call statement of affairs. But if you have started a business, it's simply audited account. It's the audited account that you need to submit to CAC and pay the filing fee. The company must submit to the Corporate Affairs Commission every year their statements, their financial statement, which is the audited account, to show that they are still in business. And failure to do so, the CAC could make the company to be inactive apart from other penalties that follow. So what the companies need to do, the company must ensure that they get their annual compliance done. They also register with the tax office, which is the FIRS. The same audited accounts submitted to the CAC must have been submitted to the FIRS as well, which is the Federal Internal Revenue Service, where they must have paid any kind of tax they need to pay. So company, apart from other sectorial compliances, such as maybe if you are into mining, you need to give some, or into oil and gas, you need to submit some, maybe annual details there for the purpose of your operation. All those small compliances that deal with sector. Apart from that, there are two major compliances that every company must do. Every company must do. And they are the compliance finding with the Corporate Affairs Commission, the CAC, and with the FIRS. Those are the general compliance that they affect all companies. And if the company is working within the state, the company must also file a compliance with the state inner revenue service for its employees, because the company is meant to be collecting taxes from the salaries of the employee and remit same to the state government. So those are the major compliances that every company must comply with annually. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your time. I must say this is really, really educative.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.